Welcome to another Warcraft the audio commentary. Today we're going to be watching a game. This is the first game in a best of 3 series for the HF All-Stars tournament or cup. I don't know what it is. We're going to watch game 1 tonight, and then we'll watch the other 2 games tomorrow. We're going to finish out the series. If it is 2 games, it might be 1 game. I don't know. I just know it's a best of 3. That's all we need to know. So we'll finish the series out tomorrow, and we'll start tonight. And it's Undead versus Elf. I don't need to explain that because we're going to introduce our players. Let's introduce them. In the upper right part of the map, we have Xixi spawning in as the Red Night Elf. Xixi, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I could be wrong, but I believe that's how it is. Xixi versus Xun, the Undead, spawning in as the light blue in the lower left. The map is naturally Secret Valley, so that's always fun. I really picked this because Xixi and Xun, it's a perfect pair of players. I don't think I've ever seen a more perfect pairing of players. So I don't even know if that's how you're supposed to correctly pronounce their names, Xixi and Xun, but I think it is. So that's what we're going with. We already are going to see a ghoul go across the map, a lone ghoul. Going to give him some scouting information. It's important to get intel against this elf in the early game. It lets you know, are you playing the warden or are you playing the demon hunter? It's a completely different play style. And on this map, both are very viable. Very viable. I would say the Demon Hunter is probably the more preferred choice normally on this map because Demon Hunter can kind of get a quick level 2 and he's very powerful at stopping the undead from doing a lot of creeping at this point early on, and then you can maneuver your Ancient of Wars around and pick up level 3 on your Panda pretty quickly. So, and of course the Panda being high level or at least level 3, very key. This ghoul going to be doing a good bit of harass on the Wisp. He's going to make this creep a lot harder. If you don't have a Wisp here repairing this thing, it becomes a whole lot harder to actually, to actually creep this without losing it. It might be pronounced Xixi and Xun. I don't know. Which doesn't sound nearly as awesome. But anyway, so the Demon Hunter picks up a Gloves of Haste and a Tome of Agility. This creep could not have gone any better for him. And down here we're going to see the Demon Hunter with, the Death Knight with no experience. But he is going to go for a little bit of creeping. No, he's going to go for a little bit of harass. I don't know why I said creeping. I'm getting my words mixed up. Tier 1 on the Elf player. Are we going to see Tier 1 on the Undead? We are going to see Tier 1. He's got lots of ghouls, so he could go for some kind of crazy ghoul attack. I don't know. It is actually Xixi. I'm sorry. It's Xixi and Xun probably, which maybe is even closer to Xixi and Xun. I don't. Probably not. Look, who cares? I am never gonna get all the names correct anyway, right? But I should try. Demon Hunter chasing down the skeleton. This little skeleton warrior. He should be able to get it, but because he turned around a little bit too premature there when I had 3 HP left, it's going to take him a lot longer to, and that is a bigger time investment than it's probably worth for that little bit of XP. There you go. Death Knight over here. There are quite a few archers out actually at this point. 3 archers. It's more than you normally see. The guy's going to now pick up. It's going to make it so that he does not really have to fear early aggression whatsoever when you have 3 archers out. That can easily deal with pretty much any number of ghouls that the Undead would ever make, unless he was absolutely crazy. Because by the time, if you had like enough ghouls to deal with 3 archers and a Demon Hunter and the Moonwells, you would end up giving so much XP. This guy would just be like, oh, well, now I'm leveled up and I'll have an immolation and I'll kill everything anyway. So this is a very safe play coming out of Xixi. Gonna go down, throw down the Hunter's Hall. Gonna probably be favoring the double lore this game for the Dryads and Bears. It's a pretty bold prediction there because there's so many things that elves play on this map, but occasionally you will see them go with the dot archer play, and if he was gonna do it, it'd probably be in a game where he made 3 archers, but probably not. And he would still use the Hunter's Hall anyway because you still have to get your attack upgrades if you play that strategy. It's a very interesting strategy. It does a lot of damage. I'm just gonna get to steal on this as well. Just kind of nice. Just trying to prevent him from picking up the Tome of Intelligence. He would like to get that on his Death Knight if he could. Always important to have as much mana as possible against Elf because the Demon Hunter mana burn will get rid of a lot of it, and you need mana because, again, this is one of those matchups where hero levels are a big deal. Not so much for the Elf player. The Elf player needs to get level 3 pretty much on a demon hunter and a panda. On a warden, if he goes with that, he needs like at least level 3, preferably 5. But the undead pretty much always needs to get 5-3, maybe even 5-3-3 or 5-5-3 or something like that in the late game to really compete with the elf. So XP is a really big deal, and then on top of all of that, he also needs to have plenty of mana. He can't ever take a fight where he doesn't have mana, so all those things are big deal. Double lore going down. He could go for the cancel, but he doesn't actually have any ghouls on this side of the map, so it probably would hit too late. But he has got some creeping, guys. He is creeping his greens, so, you know, wants to pick up the level 2 if he can. He would be level 2 probably by now if it weren't for that pesky demon hunter stopping those ghouls from creeping and also taking some steals on the XP, which I'm sure the demon hunter is very happy about, whereas the Death Knight not so happy about. I'm gonna move those ghouls. Could go for this creep right here, maybe. There is actually a wisp right here kind of guarding that. It's not gonna actually prevent him from doing it, but, you know. There you go. Over here we can see Panda gonna get a lot of XP. Just gonna go for the item though, picking up a greater potion of mana, which is always wonderful to have. Gonna get the 13 mana burn on the Death Knight. No, not really any need to do that at that point, but he was just like, you know what, screw it, you're not getting any mana. And because of the fact that the Death Knight just ran straight by over there, he can pretty much safely conclude that it's probably, oh, he's also, gargoyles? Gargoyles? What? 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 Oh, wow, wow, okay, I'm excited now. As if I wasn't. No, Ghoul Garg is what we're going to be seeing this game, and this is a great map for it because the Gargs can come out pretty early, and usually you can use them to creep the Fountain of Health pretty easily, but if you try to creep it with too few Gargs right off the bat, then you actually run into an issue where you don't actually have a large enough collective health pool to really take this guy down in time, but he should go down right now, no problem. And then he can go for the other health fountain pretty quickly after that. There is an issue. He needs to pick up that item. He does get it. Not a big deal. He does get it. Gonna see another mana burn going off though. Just being a little bit of a cheeky demon hunter. The big issue here though is that if you're playing this strategy, whenever you play gargoyles, you really would like ideally to prevent the panda from hitting level 3 quickly. And that we are not seeing any kind of slowing down on this panda whatsoever. He is going to pick up level 3 as fast as he wants. That's pretty much all there is to it. Level 3 on the Death Knight, which is nice. It is nice to have that, but again, your goal is to slow the panda's leveling as much as possible. There's a couple of things you need to know about this as well. When you go gargoyle play, you need to ideally go for the fast Black Citadel, because especially on this map, it's important, but really on any map, because what you have to do is you have to be more afraid of anything is the bear push. If the elf decides to do it and you're not basically really close to frost worms, it's basically game over because Gargs absolutely cannot hold a bear push without frost worms. At least one. And especially if the panda's level 3, then all of your units just kind of die. So that's going to be a thing. We're going to see, though, I don't exactly know how Xun is intending to play this. There's a lot of different options here. Generally, you try to be very harass-oriented, where you go for the wisp and you try to keep the wood count low so they can't actually pump out dryads and bears. Also, you try to do a lot of harassing in terms of the elves creeping to keep the panda from hitting level 3. And the Xun's panda is not level 3. It's only halfway through level 2. Which is, I think, too close for comfort, but maybe Xun will show us differently. We'll see. Trying to pick off some of these goals if he can. He wants to do that, but he doesn't want to get surrounded, so he's going to have to be careful there. And the elf actually having to retreat back to his base. However, Tree of Eternity is up at this point. The shop is up, so we're going to start seeing poison orbs come out, or rather orbs of venom, which venom, of course, different than poison, because venom must be injected into your bloodstream, whereas poison must be ingested. See, I know things. Watch that be wrong. I think that's right. He's picked up a Scroll of Healing on the Death Knight, very important item. Also getting an Illyria's Flute of Accuracy, which is not a bad item if you're in a fight, because it does help the DPS of the gargoyles a little bit. But a lot of the time, you'll find that the Gargs are off doing their own thing. Normally, and this, I don't know. That's one playstyle. The second playstyle for the undead is to kind of do what Xun is doing right now, where it's more of a aggressive, try to fight kind of thing. And you can only do it if the elf's in a bad position. And this is not the kind of position. Gonna dodge the breath haze fire, which is really good. If once the haze, if the panda gets the haze fire off, then you can't just go stone form to get rid of it. It's kind of like just kind of a thing you have to deal with. And that means you can't take the fight. You just have to back off. But he's gonna go ahead and try to take this. There's the haze fire. He's gonna pop the scroll of healing on it. He's doing a pretty good job fighting this, actually. Those dryads are getting focused down pretty well. Once that haze goes on them, though, the drunken haze, it actually makes it a lot harder. They're gonna miss a bunch, and they're a little bit slower. So they start going down pretty quickly. Not gonna see another one getting dodged. He just went for that straight haze fire very quick. The demon hunter taking a lot of damage. He's gotta be careful. He's gonna get staffed out by the panda. The panda is solidly level 3 at this point, almost level 4. A ton of XP has been picked up by this guy. And he's gonna run the rest of those gargoyles out of there. So the numbers have been thinned down pretty well. And the thing about that is, which is actually an interesting style as well, it's a lot harder for the elf to keep remaxing his army. It's a lot harder. You can see his wood count really not that great, whereas for the elf player or the undead player, can remax fairly easily. So that's kind of what we're seeing Xun do here. He's just, I think that might be his goal here. He does have the boneyard out, so he is absolutely capable of throwing down some boneyards, or rather some frost dragons or frost worms. Which we will probably see. It's going to make really good picking off of these bears. And you kind of want to transition slightly away from gargoyles the higher up level that panda gets. So it's kind of nice to trade things off if you can. I would say. Level 5 on the Death Knight doesn't have mana. He needs more mana. Level 3 on the demon. Exactly. Well, he does have the. Is 5 better than 3/3? Maybe I don't know. He's probably gonna be getting a frost, or rather a lich, a frost nova, a lich here coming out, and that's what he's doing. Now that this is 5, there's really no reason not to at this point. And then he could go for some creeping, but mainly just having some nukes would be nice. And that would actually allow him to fight, because you can't once that panda is once that panda's 3, it's a lot harder to fight. So. Gargoyles kind of flying over. There's the way the gargs are using these trees for safety, because you can kind of micro them over the trees if they start getting low, and then they can only die to a breath of fire that's aimed really well. So that's kind of cool, but he can't really fight in that open position. It's too far away from the tree lines, and what would happen is all those dryads would just target down. They would just kind of attack, move into the gargs. Haze fire would go off, and it would be really bad. But it can creep up. This is the one thing you have to be careful about if you're in this position as the undead. Don't lose the lich. Whatever you do, don't lose the lich. It's really easy to lose the lich. The elf makes it even easier to lose the lich. He's going to go ahead and pop a scroll of healing just to save both at once. He does have not enough mana for the coil. Oh, he's got to be careful here. Oh, he's got to be careful here. Oh, the breath of fire is going to get him just at the tip of the cone. What a shame that lich is going to go down. And we're going to see a bit of that bear doing a little bit of blocking. The boneyard frostworm almost out, which would be good if Xixi went for the push. And he's not going to go for the push. He's going to back off, which is fine. It's not a bad idea. Back off, take some XP. You know, two things happen when you do this. When you back off as the elf, you take XP from the undead. And a low-level lich is pretty much a dead-level lich. And it's not easy to keep it alive. And 2, you know, you buy some time. For what? I don't know. Your expansion, because that's not going up. It's not going up against those gargs. Really the strength of gargs is their harass potential. And really one of the nicest things about the gargs is that you can't build a building. If gargs will take down a building that is being built from like 98% to dead in like before it finishes. They do a sickening amount of damage to buildings that are being constructed. And they can go for these wisps. Will they go for the wisps? They will go for the wisps. Not quite enough. Not quite enough. You need 7 gargs with 1 attack upgrade. I want to say it's 7. I want to say it's 7. How many does he have? Probably 6. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he does have 7. Maybe it's 8 then. Maybe it's 8. To one-shot a wisp with a volley, with a single volley. I would have swore it was 7 with 1 attack upgrade, but I could be wrong, because it looks like he just did that and it didn't one-shot it. It's been a while since I've had to do the garg math, because it's really been in a style that's not been in popularity for many years. It started declining in popularity really with the advent of Ancient of War creeping, because the panda became very easy to level up, and the panda is really the bane of the strategy. Because your goal used to be, right, to keep the panda low level, and that was a reasonable thing to do. But who knows? Really also used to be keep everything level and just deny everything. But anyway, so the Frostworm is out. He is ready to start doing it. He's got the Lich out as well. He wants, as long as he takes a decent fight position where the elf is kind of forming a line rather than like a horizontal line rather than like a big mass or an amalgamation of units, then the undead can kind of pick units off, and that's good for him. He's got the Potion of Mana on the Death Knight, also the Scroll of Healing. Both of those items are very vital. Kind of surprised he doesn't have a second Scroll of Healing on the Lich. Probably can't afford it, but well, he can at this point, so he should definitely visit a shop like this one and pick that up if he wants to. But if he doesn't, then maybe he's not intending to fight. I guess that's another thing. And he doesn't have to fight, actually, because the elf player currently not putting up an expansion. Until the elf player goes for an expansion, no real need to fight. You don't have to. There's just, at that point you can kind of just bank at 50, and that's what we're gonna see. You can bank at 50. The elf player is not at 50; he's at 62. So the undead is making more money right now per tick. You can see the elf player has 1,100 gold right now, just an insane amount of gold. But again, no expansion, no worries. The undead, actually, the idea as the undead player here is really, well, one, to delay this expansion as long as possible, cancel it with Gargs, etc. Probably just going to see the elf player sit on top of this just to kind of prevent that from happening. But the second thing is to not really go for your push until this expansion is finished. Like, as soon as this is finished and this is like almost done, you get the wisp in there, that's when you want to hit, because that gives you the most amount of time. Because this right here, this is an expansion. This is an investment. It costs money, it costs gold, it costs wood, it costs time. All of these factors mean that the elf player is going to have less resources than you when you go for the push. It's an investment. This doesn't recoup itself for quite a while. This can even mine 200 or 300 gold before you hit, because they're not going to have time to spend that money, They're not going to have time to actually... The whole goal there is to maximize the efficiency of the undead army, because otherwise you're fighting a panda, and that is level 5 at this point. It's not easy. We're going to see some Ancient Protector going down, and Moonwall going down, basically because the elf knows if there's going to be a fight, it's probably going to be right here anytime soon. The other option is the undead to kind of go for his own expansion, but historically we've seen that that's a little bit harder for the elf player to pull off. In fact, he's going for an abomination. An abomination is a good choice to have if he knows he wants to go into a fight. It's not a we usually see in this style, but it's good to have. It's great against the dryads. It tanks a bunch, and it also kind of messes with the positioning on the ground for the elf player, which are things that they traditionally don't have to worry so much about when there's just a big heavy air unit army type base that we're seeing the undead play. So we'll see. The Lich being level 2 and not 3 is a big problem for him. He really, really needs to have that higher up. Getting the Disease Cloud, that's going to make this abomination well worth his money, because that means once he infects all those dryads, they do not regenerate HP for 2 minutes. In fact, they just go lower and lower and lower, and they don't regenerate HP during the day anyway. So if it's during the day, they certainly don't regenerate. They take a lot of damage, and quickly will go down to 1 HP, and then you can just kind of pick them off, and it makes it really easy to pick them off. So the abomination, clever for several reasons. And this is not a position that the elf player can fight at all, but he might get the staff off on this dryad. Maybe he's not even gonna have to. Not even gonna have to. Good to go ahead and immediately coil this thing. It's probably just gonna get rejuvenated. Fair enough, but that's bear mana. That mana on those bears is very precious. There's only a couple bears. We're gonna see that immediately get nuked down, because you're gonna get mana burned on your Death Knight. You just absolutely are, so you may as well go ahead and get through that. You're gonna see the first stone coil form or whatever going off for the gargoyles, and the panda being the focus target right now. If you can get the panda out of the fight, you're gonna have a much easier time. In fact, you're gonna force a TP, and you're gonna see a lot of these dryads have gone down. The Death Knight also want to take bad position, but the panda has been moved at this position. He's just TP'd right here. He's gonna maybe go down right here. Could he go down? He's gonna die, and the panda going down means the undead can back off, maybe heal down at this mountain for just a little bit if he would like to, and then take this fight again, because he's got a little bit of time. He just has to make sure that the panda doesn't get brought back into the fight. You're gonna see that abomination going down. He says, I'm just gonna fight right here. He's gonna move that Frostworm just out of the range. He doesn't want it to die over on these dryads. Focus fire. He's gonna get the nice hit onto the bear. That's always good. Could go for the kind of kill on the Demon Hunter, maybe. The Demon Hunter is pretty tanky. He does have a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and he did just pick up level 5. The Lich is in a little bit of trouble. The Lich is going to go down. There is not enough mana for a coil just yet. He could get mana burned. He's going to get mana burned at 72. He needs to get to 75, and good game is going to be called by Xun. What a shame, but really, that's kind of how I would expect the game to end if you go Golgarg. He did a lot better than I thought he would, killing the panda. I gotta say, did a good job. and then he couldn't get away from the army, and at that point it was just kind of a slow death. But that was game number 1. We'll watch games 2, and if a third exists, then games 3 tomorrow as well for the rest of the series for HF Cup or All Stars Cup, or something. HF All Star, yeah, HF All Stars. So that's where we'll be watching tomorrow. The rest of the series, which I think will be fun because these guys are pretty good players. So that was it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Kind of a late stream tonight. 3 games. Pretty awesome. Flex. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now, so I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.